Every television in that showroom is built to do exactly two things: look unbelievable for the 10 minutes you stand in front of it, and be quietly forgotten by the time it dies on you a few years later. These are the televisions in 2026 that will actually last you a decade, ranked from the traps that fade fast up to the one I would put my own money on to still look brilliant long after the others are on the curb. Let us start at the bottom, with the trap that catches almost everybody. At number 7 is not a television I am recommending. It is the one I am begging you to walk past. The cheap, no-name edge-lit set for a couple $100 that looks like the deal of the century. You know the one. It is the biggest screen for the smallest price on the whole shelf, and standing there, it looks absolutely fine. Here is what that price really bought you. The lights are crammed around the edge instead of spread behind the panel, so it can barely separate dark from light, and every part inside is the cheapest a factory could buy. This is the television most likely to show you the classic slow death by year 2 or 3. Dim patches, a blotchy backlight, the whole picture fading to a flat gray until everything looks like it is happening behind a dirty window. And when it fails, you do not fix it, because the repair costs more than you paid, so it goes to the curb and you are back in the store buying your second television inside 3 years. The cheapest set on the shelf is almost never the cheapest set to own. Here is the simple tell so you can spot one in 5 seconds. If it is shockingly cheap for its size, and the label does not proudly say Mini LED, QLED, or OLED anywhere on it, it is one of these disposable edge-lit sets, and that low price is a warning. Number 6 is the most beautiful television on this entire list, and also the one with the biggest asterisk next to the word lasts. The LG C5 OLED. Let me be completely fair to it, because on picture alone, it earns every bit of praise. Every single pixel makes its own light and switches fully off for true black, so a night scene is properly black instead of dark gray, and the picture is flawless from any seat in the room. In a dark room, nothing on this list touches it. And it is no longer priced like a fantasy. You can find the 65-inch for under $1,400 now, when it used to be nearly double that. So why is the most gorgeous set all the way down at number 6 on a longevity list? Because of how an OLED ages, and because of who tends to be watching this video. Those tiny organic pixels slowly wear as they light up, and they do not wear evenly. If you leave the same news channel on for hours a day, with that bright bar of text running along the bottom and a logo sitting in the same corner, that static image can very slowly burn a faint permanent ghost into the screen. They call it burn-in, and once it is there, it does not come off. Modern sets fight it. They shift the picture and dim stuck logos, and for someone who watches a real mix of things, it will be fine for many years. But be honest about how your television gets used. If it lives on the news all day, you would be spending real money on the one type of screen that is vulnerable to exactly that. So who is the C5 for? Buy it if you watch a genuine variety of content, in a room you can keep dim, and you want the single best picture money can buy. Skip it if your television runs the news or one channel all day, or it sits in a bright room full of windows, where a brighter set would serve you better for longer. It is a stunning television. It just asks the most of you to reach that 10-year mark.
Number 5 is the opposite kind of set, the one built like it is meant to outlive you, at a price meant for almost nobody. The Sony Bravia 9.2. This is Sony's flagship mini LED, and it is a magnificent piece of engineering. It is one of the brightest, most controlled, most natural-looking televisions you can put on a wall, with the kind of build quality and long software support Sony has been known for across decades. If you buy this, the panel will not be what ends its life. Your own boredom will, 10 or 12 years from now. Sony's reliability reputation is the real thing. It is what people mean when they say their last Sony ran for 15 years in the spare room after being replaced. But I run an honest channel, so here's the catch, and it is a big one. It costs the thick end of $3,000 to $4,000 for the 65-inch. That is real money.
And it is the reason this heirloom-grade television sits at number 5 and not number 1. Longevity you overpay for is still overpaying. So who is it for? Buy it if money is genuinely no object. You want the best built set in the room, and you plan to keep it until it is the oldest thing in the house. Skip it, and almost everyone watching should, if the phrase $4,000 for a television made you wince. Because 3 of the sets still coming will give you 80 to 90% of this for a third of the price, and last just as long. Genuine question while we are here, and I read these. What is the longest a single television has ever lasted you, and what brand was it? I want to know which names earn their reputation in the real world, not on a spec sheet. Tell me below. Number 4 is where the smart money starts to gather, if the smart money has a bit of room to spend. The Samsung QN90F. This is Samsung's premium Neo QLED, and for a 10-year buyer, it does something very clever. It gets you a properly premium picture without taking on OLED's one real long-term weakness. Because it is an LED-based television, a big bank of tiny mini LED lights behind the panel rather than millions of organic pixels, it simply cannot burn in. You can leave it on the same channel with the same logo for the next decade, and it will not wear a ghost into the screen. On top of that, it is ferociously bright. Bright enough to punch through a living room full of afternoon sun that would leave an OLED looking washed out and tired. Those LED backlights are rated to run for tens of thousands of hours, which is many, many years of normal watching before they even begin to dim. It is bright, it is tough, and it does not ask you to think about how you use it. The honest trade is the price and the last few percent of picture. At under $1,600 for the 65-inch, it is not cheap. And in a pitch-black room, a true OLED will still show you a slightly deeper black. But for the vast majority of people, in a normal room with some light in it, watching normal television, they will never notice that gap. And what they get in return is a bright, rich, premium set that will take a decade of hard use without a single worry. So who is it for? Buy it if you have a bright room and you want a premium television that lasts, without babysitting it. Skip it only if you are watching every dollar, because the next 3 sets get you most of the way there for a lot less. Now we cross into the sets I would point most people toward, the value end, where a television that lasts a decade stops costing a fortune. Number 3, the Hisense U6QF. This is the cheapest set on the whole list that I would trust to still be running in 10 years, and that is a real achievement at the price. For under $700, you get a true mini LED, with real local dimming behind the panel and the same fundamental longevity advantage as the expensive sets. It is LED-based, so no burn-in, and that backlight is built to outlast your interest in it. It is not as bright as the premium sets, and its dimming is not as precise. So in a very sunny room, it works a little harder to keep up. But in a normal living room, it gives you a picture that would have cost 3 times as much a few years ago, on a foundation that does not rot from the inside the way those disposable edge-lit sets do. This is the least you should spend answer. Below this, you are gambling on how long the thing survives. At this, you are not. Who is it for? Buy it if you want the most durable television per dollar there is, for a normal room. And you do not need the picture to be spectacular, just good and long-lived, with no drama. Skip it only if your room is extremely bright or you want that premium punch, in which case spend up to the sets above.
Number 2, and this is the one I would hand to a friend on a budget who still wants a television that feels a cut above. The TCL QM6K. For under $800, this is a quantum dot mini LED, which is a mouthful that means richer color and better brightness control than a plain set, on top of that same tough, burn-in proof LED foundation. It steps up on the Hisense below it with a bit more brightness and a bit more polish in how it handles a high contrast picture, and it holds together beautifully over time because, again, the thing most likely to kill a television, a worn-out organic panel, simply cannot happen here. TCL and Hisense have spent the last few years steadily closing the gap on the big names, and this is the proof. A good, durable television for the kind of money that used to buy you a disposable one. There is a comfort in a set like this that matters more the longer you own it. You never have to think about it. It just turns on and works, every night, for years. Who is it for? Buy it if you want a slightly nicer picture than the rock-bottom pick, but you are still watching your budget hard, and you want a decade out of it. Skip it only if you are going to spend up to the number 1 pick, which, for a bit more money, is, to my eye, the smartest television on this entire list. Quick note before the big one, and this is worth the 10 seconds. Whichever of these you land on, subscribe before I get to number 1, because right after it, I'm going to give you the 3 30-second checks that decide whether any of these reaches 10 years. And it is the part most people skip and regret. Which brings us to number 1, the television I would put my own money on for most people who want great picture that lasts a full decade without overpaying. The Hisense U8QG. Here is why it wins, and it is not close. This is a mini LED with thousands of tiny lights behind the panel in a lot of separately controlled zones, so you get deep, tightly controlled blacks that get surprisingly close to OLED, and you get eye-searing brightness that beats almost everything in a bright room. And you get all of it on the tough, durable, burn-in-proof LED foundation that is the whole reason we are here. It is nearly the picture of a flagship, with the lifespan of the most reliable type there is. And the price is the punchline. You can find the 65-inch for under $1,200, when the premium mini LED sets and the OLEDs that look about this good cost you $1,500, $2,000, or nearly $4,000. It carried a sticker price more than double what it sells for, which tells you exactly how much television you are getting for the money. That is the whole argument of this video in one set. The most expensive television is not the one that lasts best for your money. The set that gives you nearly the flagship picture on the longest lasting foundation for around a third of the flagship price is the one that actually wins the decade. You are not paying a premium for longevity here. You are paying less and getting more of it, which is a rare and beautiful thing in electronics, where the durable choice is almost always the expensive one. If you want one television that will still look brilliant and bright in 10 years, no matter what you watch or how bright your room is, and you do not want to spend flagship money to get it, this is the one I would buy. Who should skip even this? Almost no one. Only the pure, darkroom cinema purist who wants absolute perfect black and is happy to spend more and protect an OLED to get it. For everyone else, the person who wants to buy once, buy well, and not think about it again for a decade, this is the answer. Now, the part I told you to stick around for, because the type of television is only half the story. Here are the 3 30-second checks that decide whether the set you buy reaches 10 years. First, check the exact model code before you pay, letter for letter. The names are designed to blur together on purpose, and one letter is the difference between this year's set and a 2-year-old one being sold at a not quite clearance price. The set I just called number 1 is the U8QG. Last year's, a different television, was the U8N. The budget pick is the U6QF, and there are older U6 sets floating around with almost the same name and less TV inside. Search the full code with the year before you buy, and make sure you are getting the current set at a real price, not old stock dressed up as a deal. 30 seconds of typing saves you from buying yesterday's television at today's price.
Second, match the warranty to the risk, because this is where people waste money in both directions. On a big, expensive OLED, especially if you have any worry about how you will use it, a few years of coverage is genuinely smart money, because an out-of-warranty OLED panel repair costs a brutal fraction of the whole set. On a tough mini LED like the top picks here, you can very often skip the plan, because the thing most likely to fail, burn-in, cannot happen to it, and the backlight is built to outlast the coverage anyway. And know that the 3 things that actually fail on a television are the backlight, the power board, and the panel. And on a cheap set, any one of them is a write-off. Buy the insurance where the real risk is, not where the salesman points. A warehouse club like Costco often bundles years of protection in for nearly nothing, while an electronics store charges you a real premium for the same thing. Third, buy the panel for your room's light, because this decides whether you still love the thing in year 5. Walk into the room the television will really live in and look at the windows. If the sun pours in during the day, you want the brightest set you can get, which means the mini LED picks here, because a dim screen in a bright room is a picture you will squint at for a decade. And squinting at your own television every evening is how something that should be relaxing slowly starts to feel like work. If you control the light and keep the room dim, that is the one room where an OLED's beauty truly pays for itself. Buy for the room you have, not the blacked out studio the review was filmed in. So after all that, be honest with me. Which one are you leaning toward now, and what are you replacing? Drop the set you are eyeing and the age of the one it is retiring. I read these, and I am always curious how many people this changes. So there it is, ranked by what actually matters over a decade, not over 10 minutes in a showroom. Walk straight past the disposable edge-lit sets that fade in a few years. Know that the LG C5 OLED is the most beautiful and the most demanding. Know that the Sony is the heirloom you overpay for, and the Samsung is the premium set that lasts without the OLED worry. And know that the real winners are the value mini LEDs, the Hisense U6QF, the TCL QM6K, and above all, the Hisense U8QG, the one that gives you nearly everything, for a decade, at a price that leaves money in your pocket. The best-looking television in the store is almost never the one still looking good in 10 years. Now you know which ones are. And if this just saved you from buying the wrong television for the next decade, that is your cue to hit like before you go. It costs you nothing, and it tells the algorithm to put this in front of the next person standing in that store about to trust the price tag instead of the facts. It is the whole way this channel keeps going. Next on the channel, the TV deals actually worth grabbing right now, and the ones that only look like deals until you read the fine print. Because buying the right television is only half the job. Buying it at the right moment is the other half.